Toward the end of the year, at a time when we should be looking forward to holidays and spending time with family and friends, many of us start to feel some of the excitement start to fade because it gets overshadowed with stress about taxes. While your options to reduce your tax bill at the very end of the year are more limited than they are at the beginning of the year, there are still a lot of things you can do to get on top of your taxes and save some money. Hey, my name is Mark too, and I'm a CPA who specializes in helping online resellers with taxes and with growing their businesses profitably. And in this video, I want to share with you some simple things you can still do to save on taxes for this year and to be ready for tax season. While putting this video together, I briefly looked at some of the end-of-year tax planning advice out there, and so much of it isn't really applicable to the broader audience. Things like opening a donor-advised fund or doing real estate swaps or selling appreciated securities to offset realized losses don't mean much or even really apply to the typical small business owner. So today I want to give you 5 basic tips about things that are probably more applicable to you as an online reseller or online business owner. Number 1, gather your records. Let's say you haven't done a great job of keeping track of your business activity. Or let's just be totally honest and say, you've done a terrible job. If that's the case when tax time comes, chances are you'll either be leaving money on the table by over-reporting your income or opening yourself up to penalties and problems if you under-report your income. Luckily these days, it's not too difficult to reconstruct or put together a fairly accurate picture of your business income and expenses for the year. Most online sales platforms such as eBay, Amazon, Poshmark, and so on have sales reports that you can download to see your total sales and platform fees for the year. Then it's just a matter of putting together your other expense totals, inventory, office supplies, subscriptions, and any other expenses incurred for the business that are not already included in the sales reports. Usually you can get these through bank or credit card statements. And for those of you who do a lot of cash transactions, it may be more difficult, but worst case scenario you can always estimate. And that's not ideal when you don't have a good record or substantiation, but in my opinion, it's better than just not taking any deduction at all. Number 2, take advantage of all business deductions available to you. Some of the deductions that are often forgotten include your cell phone, your internet bill, your mileage, self-employed health insurance deduction, the home office deduction, and educational expenses. And I'll talk about each briefly. You can deduct the business use or the business portion of your cell phone and internet. These are typically calculated independently and outside of the home office deduction. If on average you use your phone 4 out of 5 hours per day per business, then you would simply deduct 80% of your phone bill and even the phone itself. The same thing applies to your internet. Another thing people sometimes forget to track is their business mileage. While some people still prefer to use a pencil and paper mileage log, there are much simpler solutions out there. I generally recommend downloading an app like MileIQ, and I have the link below if you want to check it out. All the work is done in the background and you simply categorize your trip as either business or personal. However, if it's the end of the year and you haven't been tracking your mileage, my recommendation is to recreate a mileage log. Go back and try to recreate it to the best of your ability. The IRS actually accepts this method if you're able to put together this type of information along with available evidence. Then just make sure to do a better job tracking going forward. Another good one to be aware about is the self-employed health insurance deduction. If you pay for your own health insurance and don't have access to coverage through an employer or a spouse's employer, then you likely qualify for the self-employed health insurance deduction. Depending on what you're paying in premiums, this can be a significant deduction against your business income. I recently did a video on the home office deduction. Just be aware that there are 2 different methods that you can use to take this deduction, and that in order to take the deduction, you have to use a space regularly and exclusively for your business. Let's talk about education expenses. Any education or training you pay for that's related to your online business will be directly deductible. So when you consider enrolling in my Reseller Tax Academy, remember the fact that it's fully deductible, and that's just the icing on the cake of other benefits. Check out that link below, as well as my free download to my 31 tax deductions for resellers guide. Okay, number 3, contribute to your retirement accounts. Now, not every one of us has $5,000 extra lying around that they can put away just to save $1,000 on taxes. So this might not apply to everyone, but if you are in the place in your financial journey where you're accumulating savings anyway, this is a great basic strategy to reduce your tax bill. And it's something you can do up until the very end of the tax year or even beyond the tax year, depending on what type of contribution it is. If you have a day job and have access to a 401k through an employer, you can contribute up to $19,500 for both 2020 and 2021. That's all income that won't be subject to tax on your next income tax return. And you can also open up a regular IRA on your own and contribute up to $6,000. And if you have a small business, you can open a SEP IRA or a solo 401k, which allow you to put away a whole lot more than a regular IRA. Quick example, let's say it's February and your taxes show that you owe about $1,000. Even though that tax calendar year is over, you still have time to contribute to an IRA, which you can deduct and basically wipe out the tax owed for the past tax calendar year. I won't get into all the limits and deadlines here, but just know that some last minute options do exist. Number 4, estimated tax payments. I recently did a video on estimated tax payments, what they are, how to calculate them, how to pay them, and you can check out that video here. In summary, when you're self-employed, the government generally wants you to pay your taxes throughout the year rather than at the end of the year. That doesn't apply to everyone, but if your business is growing, it will likely eventually apply to you. If you are required to make estimated payments, you'll want to make sure you do so on time. That way you'll avoid late penalties and interest. And number 5, have a plan to file your taxes. Are you going to do them by hand? Are you going to use IRS Free File? Do you use H&R Block? Are you going to go into Walmart and use Jackson Hewitt? Are you going to do TurboTax online? Or are you going to hire a tax preparer or CPA? There are so many options, so start exploring them now so you don't have that last minute stress and end up making a rash decision. A few things to consider. How complex is your tax situation? If all you have is one W-2 form and you decide to do your taxes with TurboTax, the chances that you mess it up are pretty small. But if you have a W-2, a small business, a kid in college, and a rental property, there are a lot more moving pieces in that scenario, and the chances that you miss something or miss out on some deductions or tax savings are a lot higher. If you determine this is the year that you're going to hire a CPA, make sure to reach out sooner than later because response times go down the further into tax season that you wait. I'm always happy to help new clients, so if you think we might be a good fit, check out my tax information link below and you'll be taken care of. So remember, gather your records, remember to take advantage of all the deductions, contribute to your retirement accounts, don't forget estimated tax payments, and know how you're going to file taxes this year. Check out Not Your Dad's CPA on Instagram for more tips and behind the scenes to help you optimize your tax situation and overcome the anxiety so you can focus on building your business profitably.